so first of all, getting started, can you just tell me what the major updates are as of right now today?
Yeah, so just the major updates are we completed an extensive ground search of the home and surrounding area last night at 8 p.m. But prior to that, we developed digital evidence that the suspect was actually in the Salida area. But we continued the search just as to be safe. And then we have continued to try to track sightings of the suspect. This morning I did sign a delegation of apprehension authority to the U.S. Marshals. And so we actually had U.S. Marshals here working a command post, and we got a hot tip and they went to go run that to ground. Last night, or early this morning, we had Denver Police Department come out with a helicopter, and they overflew some areas that we were interested in looking at, and then the U.S. Marshals have air resources down here flying right now.
Okay, so you have local, state, and federal resources looking for this man right now. I know the last known place he was the Salida area, but then it sounds like that has been kind of exhausted at this point, or ruled out?
He traveled through Salida, and he's now, we're tracking where he may be going.
Okay, but reason to believe he's no longer in Salida?
I don't believe he's in Salida, Chaffee County, or the surrounding area.
Okay. Is there any particular region of the state where you're focusing your efforts, like Denver area, more west?
I can't say right now, so hopefully we'll have this resolved like this afternoon. We have received tips actually from his family and some associates, and they are hoping for a peaceful resolution, and they volunteered to try to help us negotiate him into custody. And if you're watching, I would like for you to call the local 911 and turn yourself in, be peaceful, and not add further stress to the community or injury to yourself.
Okay. So what else? Is there anything else that we missed before we arrived? I know there's probably a lot of information there in the corner.
Oh, yeah. So yesterday we had to treat the scene as an active shooter, even though we now believe that he was gone prior to our arrival. So we were not able to process the crime scene last night, but CBI was here and stayed all night helping us, and then this morning they had a crime scene unit out. We have our own crime scene technician. She's out there working the coroner and the deputy coroner there, and then we'll make positive identifications. The Custer County coroner will make the actual victim notifications, and the Custer County coroner will transport the remains to El Paso County where the autopsy is going to be completed.
Okay. I mean, how does this feel given you're a small agency, you're in a small mountain town? Yeah. I would imagine things like this...
That's why I moved here, because that's a pretty area.
Yeah, I would imagine things like this don't often, of this magnitude, happen within your agency.
That's right. So it's very taxing on the community. And I mentioned earlier before you got here that we did a thing called the Everbridge alert for neighbors in a 2-mile radius where we thought the initial danger was, but we also used a system called iPause, which uses a cell phone tower, and that was not very accurate last night at all, and so it notified people that were not in the target area and caused a lot of stress and confusion for the residents, and I apologize for that.
I know it's pretty early on, given he's not even caught yet, but since it's been so many hours and there's clearly an effort to flee, do you think that that's going to contribute at all to potential charges against him? So
I do have an arrest warrant signed by a judge for 3 counts of first-degree murder on him right now, along with some other charges.
Would you want to bring more against him, given that he's clearly tried to law enforcement?
No, I'll charge every crime that he commits. It's going on the list.
What would some potential, attempt to flee is what comes to my mind.
Yeah, so he's obviously done that.
Okay. Has he been through your office before? Has he made contact with law enforcement?
So we have contacted the suspect and the victims. They all own some rural acreages in a remote part of the county, and there's been some ongoing disputes about property lines, and then also a thing called an easement. And so some of the neighbors have lived there for many decades, and he's a relative, he's only been there a couple years. And so there's a legal easement and a public road that goes through his property, and that's caused irritation to him in the past.
Okay. But has he been arrested or detained or warned by deputies previously?
No, it's all been civil, and he's got a civil lawyer, and they've gone through the court process, and the neighbors have lawyers and have gone through the court process.
Okay.
This is totally unexpected.
Okay. And have you identified, I guess the deceased have not been identified?
They've not been formally identified, and that's the role of the Custer County coroner, and then we anticipate that at any time he's out there working on it right now.
Okay.
What about the threat to the public in the sense of, I know you guys live together, those types of alerts. But again, he still isn't in custody. So
That's correct. He's still on the run, and so I would urge people not to try to apprehend him on his own. And I gave the description of the pickup and the license plate, and so if you see that, the pickup, call 911 and let us come get him. And I do have a U.S. Marshal team that's tracking him right now. We have aircraft and everything, so it'll be a quick response.
So is there kind of a threat or an uneasiness for people living in Westcliff and the surrounding areas?
I don't think there's any threat remaining in Custer or Chaffee County.
Okay.
We heard that yesterday the businesses here in town closed up because of the immediate threat and concern that he would have been still around here. Was that something that your office suggested businesses
No.
do, or did they do that on their own?
No, and that was the error with this cellular phone system called iPause. And so it sent the alert outside the alert area, and then people made a decision, based on their perception. I support them doing what they need to do
How
to
does
feel
it
safe.
make you feel, though, as the sheriff, that your whole town felt the need to completely close up shop because there was someone armed and dangerous potentially in their area?
Well, my number one concern is for their safety, but I am frustrated with the alert system
Are you frustrated with the alert system?
Yes.
Why?
because it went outside the 2-mile area that I was trying to target.
Oh, okay, I see. How much did it go out, like, past that 2-mile radius? Do you know?
At least 10 miles to get here, so
Okay, so it went far further than what you
Yeah.
had intended. Okay. And there's no current shelter-in-place orders as
no,
of right now?
no.
Okay.
And there hasn't been since 8 o'clock last night.
Okay.
Why is there a hazardous materials crew on site at the scene?
So I did, out of an abundance of caution, request that the Wet Mountain Volunteer Fire Department responds, and they have a hazardous materials capability so that if we encounter that at the scene, they can make sure it's safe.
Was that encountered at all?
I don't know. I haven't got updates.
Can you just walk me through, as the sheriff who's in charge of this investigation, or at least originated within your
Yep.
jurisdiction, how does that feel as time progresses and another hour goes by and this guy still isn't caught? Is that stressful that that's happening on your watch?
Yes, it's a sense of urgency that we do want to get him safely in custody.
Okay.
And we're doing everything we can. I've called every person. I called the U.S. Marshal himself last night, and he had a team here first thing this morning. He had airplanes here, and so I think we've done a pretty good job of bringing in resources.
What's going to be the process once he's caught, regardless of where that is in the state? Will he immediately or pretty soon be brought back here, or where will he be put in custody?